Yes, the experience and how I understood it, it's like the source. We talk about it sometimes like the source and sitting in the power, connecting to that. You plug into the source where you get charged with everything that the soul craves.
Welcome to the Spirits Beside Us podcast. I'm your host, Chris Lippincott. I'm an ex-Wall Street analyst turned international medium, spiritual teacher, and best-selling author. Each week we'll dive into the fascinating and uplifting arena of the non-physical world to help you deepen your understanding and spiritual connection to the unseen realm. We'll also share a behind-the-scenes look with others who've done the same and speak with experts in the field about their experiences. Pull up a seat and let's dive into these perspective-changing conversations. Well, welcome to another episode of Spirits Beside Us. I'm your host, Chris Lippincott, and I'm so glad to be here. And today we're joined by a wonderful guest, another medium and individual who connects with spirit and connects with energy. And her name is Kazemaru. And she's a medium who's been really sort of a lifelong meditator, far longer than I have been. I haven't been meditating my whole life. She's also, been a healer. She's been working in many different modalities, but she lives in Hawaii and she studied in Japan, Hawaii, India, and she's mastered multiple different levels of meditation. So not only is she very experienced, but she's gone through different types of meditation, as well as Eastern holistic healing and Hawaiian spirituality, which we'll definitely have to get into. Also, transmediumship, which is going to be great because I love talking about transmediumship. And she works not only with human spirit and human souls, but she also connects with animal spirits in an attempt to kind of heal their connection as well to people here in the physical. So with that, Kazemaru, I'm so glad to have you on the show. So welcome.
Aloha, and thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here with you.
Well, great. This is wonderful. So one of the things that fascinates me is that it seems like there's such a broad cultural expanse that you've experienced, throughout the world. You've been in India, you've been in Hawaii, you've been in Japan, got all these different Eastern influences. So tell me what you see as such a difference between all these multicultural influences that seem to be coming from abroad that also are far older than anything, over in North America or the UK for that matter. How do you see them influencing other approaches to spirituality, mediumship, meditation? Because your experience with meditation sounds fascinating.
How do I see them influencing? Well, I think in these Eastern or Pacific Islanders too, cultures, meditation and spirituality in general has always been part of life. So it's not something that you just do or just study, practice, but it's something that you live. It's part of your life. It's part of everyday activities more. It's integrated, and that's how I like it. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it really, I guess, is sort of an East meets West connection, where in the East, it's not only is it more accepted, but to your point, it's part of life. It's something. It's part of your everyday. Although it may be shifting to become, for a lot of people, becoming maybe less everyday, but it's still there. It's still part of most people's lives. Yeah. Whereas in the West, it's isn't this new? Let me try this out. let me learn this. Let me figure this out. And it's more. I feel like people are, their eyes are beginning to open up to, here's something that's been around for thousands of years. Let me open the door and see what's there. But I guess that's what's happening. It's like it's a discovery of people seeing things that have been around for so long.
Yes, yeah. And I think it's a good thing, because sometimes when something is around too long, you become blind to it and it becomes sometimes maybe stagnant. in a sense that you just believe certain things and don't really reflect on it. So I think this is a great meeting, like you said, with between the East and West in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it opens
So
up the eyes for both sides, I think.
that's a great point. So what do you think? I mean, with your experience with both, East and West, what do you think that the people in the West who are trying to learn, so much more from the Eastern cultures. What do you think people in the West are either missing or could learn from these ancient practices and lifestyles, that are including spirituality as a given?
In essence, I think it can um, aid or support a better sense of self and a better sense of connection. Because once you have a different way of identifying, including the soul and spirit, you become a different identity and you relate to other people differently in better ways, I would say. You can connect differently. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I immediately get brought to the concept of conflict and war. I don't see quite as many going in that direction or as adamant about going in that direction, saying, "Oh, okay, I'm going to attack you." Although,
Yeah.
it's much more of an understanding of just that you've got to be living that energetic and spiritual connection, as opposed to, trying to battle it out with the person right next to you, in front of you, or beside you.
Definitely. Yeah, it has to be an embodiment that we live and feel, not that we just believe and speak about and force others to believe. Yeah.
So one thing that's so fascinating is your lifelong meditation practice. I take it that's also part of the fact that you were learning and grew up either in Japan or learning all the different Eastern practices. What was it like? Let's go way back. Let's go back to your childhood. What was it like? Were your parents teaching this? Was this part of sort of like your everyday? It was like, okay, this is the way we think. This is what we do. This is what meditation is. Yeah, how did it all start?
I don't know where it really started, the whole thing, but I mean, my father, who was Japanese, he spoke about, reincarnations. I heard it since I was 3 years old, and, that was just natural part of how we function in life and relate to others. Oh, this might be your grandfather reborn on whatever. And but the actual daily conscious practice of meditation, I started when I was 13 through my father's dojo. So he was a martial arts teacher, in Japanese. So part of that martial arts, I was in 4 days a week, I think, as a teen. So that saved me from many stupid things that I could have done as a teen.
Oh yeah, I know that. I wish I could have kept my son doing that 4 days a week. That would have been great.
I know, right? Because it's like, oh, I want to go out and all my friends out drinking, but no, you have to be in the dojo on Saturday morning and practice. So
wow.
if I am, what do you call it, like drinking the day before, then I'll have a fist in my face coming, maybe, because you get sluggish and you can't practice properly, So that was really good. But the most fascinating part for me that really drew me was that we always started and ended with meditation, because for him, the martial arts was a very spiritual practice. And I just loved the meditation practice. And it was the Zen form. So I started with Zen and then progressed to did other things later.
Interesting. So what are you mentioned that you've got, different levels of meditation. So what types of meditation were you doing? You were mentioning Zen meditation. How is that different than other types of meditation, like transcendental meditation or visualization or breath work? What's a Zen meditation?
It's very much being present in the present moment and practicing to just not attach yourself to your thoughts, let them float by like a cloud. And but it's also very much to see things as they are in your life. So you actually bring it into proper Zen meditation is not just sitting, you bring it into your life and you do it whilst you're maybe cleaning or cooking and look at the stone, see it as a stone. Don't attach all the other kind of things in it. So it's quite a like a make life simple. So I did that maybe until 91. Yeah.
So it sounds very much like a mindfulness meditation that you're really maintaining, that the mindfulness, the awareness, the presence in the now, and really trying to embody your awareness into everything that you're doing. So it's almost like combining mindfulness meditation with a daily walking meditation or daily activity meditation, where you're just constantly trying to incorporate what you've just experienced into every action that you've just done or you're about to do.
Yeah. But when I lived in Tokyo, Tokyo was kind of stressful. It's so many people and so fast paced. So then that form of meditation wasn't enough for me. So then I started to look for others, and I read everything, tried everything, and ended up with another form that I do until today. Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, because I would think if you go to Tokyo, you're probably more stressed out than you are in like New York City. I mean, New York City's bad, but in Tokyo,
no.
Really,
no, I wouldn't say so. No, because I've been in New York City too a lot, and no, I find New York City way more stressful than.
Okay, fair enough. Good point. But yeah, I can see how Tokyo would be very stressful just because of the density, the rapid pace. I mean, it's a huge city.
Yeah.
So, what did you have to shift to when you went to Tokyo? What did you find helped you deal with all the stress, the fast pace of life, and everything that was going on there?
Yeah, so I did meditate every day, continued, and then I actually, because my whole life I've been having visions, very vivid visions, and I always followed those visions. And one night I had this very clear vision of another form or path of, I didn't see it as meditation, but I was told in my vision by the Lord of Light that I need to there were many things said, but one way was that I need to follow the path of the soul, etc. And all the details, and become a yogi, a pure yogi. But I did not like the physical yoga. That just doesn't suit me. And so I'm like, I might do something else. Let me look for something else. So next morning I'm like looking for ads for something else. And I thought, maybe I'll do shiatsu instead. And then I was like, who am I to argue with the Lord of Light? So then I found a little ad that said Raja Yoga meditations. I'm like, yoga? Oh, it can be meditation. Okay, let me look into this. So I went next day, and everything that had been shown to me in my vision was exactly the path that they explained. Like the importance of vegetarian and getting up early to meditate, and that Lord of Light, it was also explained in a way, and that we are souls, and purification of the soul, etc. So a form called Raja Yoga is what I then started to practice.
Okay. So what is the Lord of Light for people who might not be so inclined?
Yes. The experience and how I understood it is, it's like the source. We talk about it sometimes like the source, and sitting in the power, connecting to that. You plug into the source where you get charged with everything that the soul craves. The unconditional love, the unlimited source of knowing, peace, bliss, everything that we look for, like externally usually. The source, the Lord of Light, is there to provide us.
Got
Yeah.
it. So that sounds very much, if not identical, to sitting in the power meditation
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
practice of
exactly.
mediumship.
Yes, that's why it felt so comfortable when I was introduced to that concept.
Is that what kind of got you pointed in the direction or heading in the direction of like I'm starting to experience mediumship? I'm starting to become interested in mediumship. I want to follow that path now, or I want to become more involved. Is that kind of how that evolved?
No, I've always seen spirit and got guidance, like real practical guidance of events to come and so forth. And I thought that was normal since I was a child. I thought everybody saw the world and experienced the world like that. I used to fly out of my body every night, and I thought that was normal. And I, saw and sensed spirit and was guided. But I didn't know that could be like a form in that way, I think. And really, what put me on the path was I was in kind of a life crisis, and it was the first time ever that meditation did not work. Because it's the meditation that has been my sanity, my place of, life force. So it suddenly didn't work, and I didn't know what to do. I went to the doctor, I went to therapist, I took supplements, I tried everything, and then I'm like, I give up. So I sat, I sat at my altar and again asked the Lord of Light, like, I don't know what to do. And then I hear this voice, like, you have to go to a psychic. I'm like, a psychic? I don't know any psychic. Where do I go? And then I ended up with somebody, and I booked myself with a wrong name so that there was no possibility to do any research to make sure she was valid and legit. And she blew my mind. She just told all the details, names, place, location, everything, my life. And she was the one who told me, but basically, why are you coming to me? You are psychic. That's what you are supposed to do, and you used to do it in the healing art. Why did you stop? You helped so many people. Get back to it, basically. So I'm like, okay. Yeah.
So that's really how you began this. It sounds like you've had it for such a long time. Had you been in contact with spirit, ever since you were a child? You were constantly, receiving communications, and you just kind of thought, oh well, everybody's got this ability. I
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
kind
I
of thought,
thought it was totally normal.
it's totally normal, whatever.
Yeah,
Funny.
and when I spoke about it, like I've lived in London and many places, but when I was in Japan, nobody thought it was very strange. They just said, "Oh, you have the ESPA, whatever they call it," and so I felt, well, okay, it's nothing strange; it's normal.
Well, there you go.
Just some do it and some don't prefer not to.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So this life crisis, was that also where you began to, and where you were also hearing that, you got to get back to the practice? Was that where you started to also connect to more of the holistic arts, and you started doing more energy healing or learning energy
No,
healing? How did that evolve?
no, I did the Eastern medicine and healing form. I started that. I was an apprentice in Japan for 6 years,
Oh, really? Okay.
since '92, and then I practiced for many years, and then I quit for several reasons. But that form was part using your psychic eye. It's like you have to use your X-ray vision to diagnose people, and so it wasn't really part of that I quit that already.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, how did you already have the ability to connect with spirit? You already learned the Eastern holistic, healing ability and the arts, and you've already been doing that. when did you begin to start working with trance? Was that also, when you were younger and you'd also had the ability to just go into trance and spirit began to communicate through you? How'd that work?
Same thing. I thought it was normal. I was when I was visiting India, I got introduced in 1991 to a trance medium who was like blew my mind. It was so beautiful. And then I didn't have any awareness of like what's the difference between meditating, trance, and I just continued to meditate. And then somebody told me that, your trance mediumship is blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't think I was going in trance. This was just my meditation experiences. And so it was much later that I started to develop it consciously. Yeah. Through Tony Stockwell. Yeah.
Interesting. So what was the maybe you could experience, or you could describe your experience a little more about the trance medium in India? It sounds like it was quite amazing.
Oh, it was incredible. I don't know. It was one particular lady who now have crossed over, but it was a gathering of like 20,000 people every time, several times a year. It just grew and grew and grew, and still. But my first experience was that she kind of disappeared, and through her was this similar, I don't know how to explain, Lord of Light. That's just, it doesn't matter what it's called, but it was just a soul that was an abundance of unconditional, limitless love. And that love just blew things away for me that, shadows and any sense of limited forms of love that I might have, wanted, like young people do. And it just made me experience the ultimate form of love, I think.
Wow. So when you were describing, that she would kind of disappear and almost be replaced by this other individual, was it also? It sounds like it was sort of a transformation, a transfiguration, where spirit would come through, and you'd see the spirit as an energy, essentially mask over over them, and you see you're no longer, all of a sudden the individual kind of shrinks back or starts to fall backwards, and the mask that spirit's created comes forward, and you then see spirit on that person's face as a transfiguration. Was that what you were seeing?
I didn't care so much about what I saw. I'm not too fussed with what I see with my eyes, or like non-physical eyes either, in that way. It was just the experience, I think. Plus that being spoke to me and knew exactly what I was thinking about, what I've been doing, and answered my questions and responded. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because at one point, I guess I was getting confused. At one point, you were also saying there was a gathering of 20,000 people, so it sounds like it was part of a big group experience. But I guess maybe that's how you started, and then you had a one-on-one with this woman.
Oh, I got to know her, but during the trance session, I had the fortune to often sit in the front, and
yeah. So you were in the front, and the spirit person would come through and talk to you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And you would feel these waves of unconditional love and knowledge just impacting you.
Yeah, and having visions, and it just totally transformed me. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And so that's really when you said, or then somebody else said, you've got this ability based on the meditations that you were going through, and you're like, wait a second, I didn't realize I was going into trance. I thought I was just having a meditation.
Yeah. She actually told me like that you have the power of the eyes to see and give visions, so you have to use it. But it took me a long time to realize what that meant. Yeah.
Wow. So now, when you're you're doing mediumship sessions, is it much more that you're connecting with spirit and you're relaying their information, kind of the way a normal I don't want to call it normal, but
very normal medium.
Very, very normal. Like an evidential mediumship session might go, where spirit will give you all their information, you relay their information, and it's confirmation, validation, etc. of all their evidence. Is that something that you're doing sort of on a typical basis, or are you mixing it in with trance, or basically whatever the individual signs up for? Is it, I want to do the X, Y, or Z?
I normally don't let them tell me I want this. I let anything come that I sense is the most important for them. And it might, the trance work is always useful. Even I think it's important too to do the evidence in mediumship, because it's such a invisible world, and I feel people need to know. I don't want to give like
general.
Yes, exactly. Like
generic.
The generic feeling of what I feel is right for them, or whatever. I think it is important to be quite specific and have validations. But the trance work helps me to blend sometimes with their spirit person. And it has happened that sometimes I feel like I have to say, I'm sorry, but I feel like I have to hold your hand. I want to hold your hand, and I will, hold their hand like this, because I feel like, for example, there's son in spirit, even though he was almost a grown man when he passed, like 18 or something. I feel like he used to hold his mom's hand. So I'm like, it's funny, but I want to hold your. So then I will hold her hand, and they would say, yes, even though he was 18, we would do exactly this. And then she can feel her son's love, So in that way, I feel trance work helps mediumship to blend with their beloveds, and let them come through a little closer and look through my eyes at their beloveds. That are still here. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And it's almost not even needed to say, okay, there's a difference between energy healing and mediumship or trance, because at the end of the day, it's all healing. And ultimately, that's what spirit comes through, and they say, we want to give you healing. So that's the end result.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And sometimes it's like they want to come to entertain. I've had sessions when I can't stop laughing,
Yeah.
And
they definitely do have. Yeah, absolutely. They have a sense of humor. Oh my gosh.
I know. And sometimes it's like I feel like almost embarrassed, but I'm like, I can't stop laughing, and I feel like yours. Let's say it happened like that. Somebody's sister had passed quite young, and I feel like even at my own funeral, I have to laugh. And she said that's exactly how the sister was. She was laughing at every single thing. She didn't take anything. So it's like, I think it's important for somebody who want to develop their mediumship, is to allow everything they feel. I'm a very much like clairsentience. I feel the persons and the spirit. And to allow whatever comes through, not to block anything.
Yeah.
Like, suddenly I smell, I taste, I feel this, and I want to laugh, and yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's so important, and that's one of the things I'm always teaching my students is, first, you've got to trust and surrender, trust everything that you're getting, because the Spirit's giving it to you for a specific reason. They don't waste an ounce of energy. Exactly. And then secondly, you give what you get, no matter how crazy it may seem to you. Definitely. You're not the filter. It's not for you.
No,
it's
we
for
don't
the
understand
recipient.
What we do.
Absolutely. I mean, just yesterday I was giving a reading, and I was like getting this crazy information. Like, I don't understand, but he's showing me Santa Claus, or Santa Claus showed this or that, the other thing. And the personalities, to your point, the personalities never changed. And this guy was so funny, and just like, I was like, oh my God. And they were doing all these crazy things. I'm like, he's showing me X, Y, and Z. Do you understand why he's showing? And immediately they're like, yes, oh my God. I'm like, okay, I'm glad you understand it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I sure don't.
No, exactly.
Yeah, but it's so amazing, and that's one of the most, I think, the biggest hurdles for developing mediums in their early years. I know it was with me, is to get across that hurdle of trying to be the filter, or not being sure that information is going to be right, because it's our ego mind, it's our conscious mind that's saying, oh, that's not right, that can't be right, you're going to be wrong. And it's like, no, get over it, release it, let it go, trust spirit. They're the ones driving the bus. They're the ones that know what they're doing. Let them work.
I think that's why it's very important to practice, not just throw yourself out there and say, oh, I can do this, but to practice, and always practice with someone who can give you very honest validation of what comes through, because then you start to recognize what feelings or what you sense and see, whatever, is actually from spirit, or what is your imagination. Yeah. So I think it's over and over important to,
or even how it's coming through. You may you may get it, and is it coming through subtly, so quietly that you can barely detect that it's coming through, but it just kind of like comes in like a mist, or is it coming in quick, fast, like, and also part of a stream of consciousness? If it's the former, it's subtle and comes in, quietly, and like a mist under the door. That subtle information is coming from spirit. If it's coming in loud and screaming and banging on your head, that's your imagination and your annoying ego.
Sometimes I've had, like, I say something, I hear myself say something to this person, and then it's like, it's almost like I feel not a slap on my head, but someone like shaping my mouth and like, no, say it like this.
Yes. Like, yeah, exactly. Well, last week I was giving a reading, and spirit was overshadowing me so much, I had to get up out of my chair, and they had me dancing.
Oh, good.
That's happened a couple of times. I'm like, I don't know why, but I just got to dance. And here's what I'm looking like. And I looked like such a fool, but I was doing it anyway. They were laughing so hard, A, because I was looking kind of silly, but B, they're like, yes, oh my God, that's exactly him.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and that's happened, gosh, it happens a lot, where they just come in and overshadow you, or they'll make you get up and dance, or they'll make you start waving your arms in a certain way. And the next thing you know, you're doing these things. You're like, why am I doing these things?
Definitely.
And that's another thing I tell people is like, pay attention to what you're actually doing, or how you're moving your hands and your arms. Janet No Havoc, I don't remember if you know Janet No Havoc.
Yes, I've taken classes.
Great. She was once years ago, and I was talking to one of her. I was learning from her. She was once telling a time when she was developing in her early years. And I think it was with Gordon Higginson, I think. And she said she was out front, and she was like describing something. Oh no, actually it wasn't Janet. It was Mavis Patilla. It was Mavis Patilla. One of her first times learning with Gordon Higginson. The two masters, and she's up giving a practice dem in front of Gordon, and like she starts to describe something, and next thing she knows, she doesn't even realize it, but she's like her hands are moving like she's playing the piano, and she goes, I don't know why, but I feel like there's something about music. I don't know, there's something about music, and Gordon Higginson's in the back of the room starting to laugh, going, look at your hands. Do you realize what you're doing with your hands? She finally looks at her hand and goes, oh my God, I'm playing the piano. This person played the piano, and bingo, there it was.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
that's how strong it can be.
Playing piano is fine. I've had like sessions where I feel like this grown man, I want to put him in my lap and feed him with my hand. And it's like, yeah, that's what my mom did the last time I saw her,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they'll.
We just have to go with it. No embarrassment.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why
no
I'd
judgment.
say totally. I mean, that's why I'm always telling people it's exactly like, you call it spirit charades, because they will get that they will make you do things that they did to make the sitter and the recipient know exactly what it is they did. So it's all charades.
That's how they connect and they feel them. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So it's much. I don't want to say it's easier, but it's more relatable when we're trying to connect those, movements and understandings. If it's a human, what do you do when you are connecting with animals, especially if it's like not just a dog or a cat, but you've got other animals that are around? How do you do that?
Same. We do the same kind of, you feel the body movements, but especially maybe if it's dog or cats, like I can feel their body movement and so forth. But I once did, what was it? One of these birds, not hawk, something like that. And then I could feel their feelings, like there was some event that happened that they felt intimidated by and therefore flew off away. And it's like I could see the scenes, I could feel their emotions. I mean, animals, I think we totally underestimate how much they understand and feel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it's sometimes I feel it's easier with animals because they're it's straight and honest.
Yes, they're very straight and honest. They've got great emotions.
Yeah.
But how do we get across how they feel to somebody who wouldn't recognize how they feel? Let's say you've got you're bringing through a dog. Well, dog's too easy. Let's say you're bringing through either the cat or that hawk. How would somebody know if they're actually experiencing that feeling? Because most humans aren't connected that closely to the feelings of an animal.
No, you would have to give a specific scene or event, I think. And this particular bird was showing events, like tumbling with birds and then flying off and then coming back and then explaining they enjoy now not tumbling with birds but doing shows, for example. And like that the humans feel happy when they do it.
Okay.
And then the humans, they know what they had the bird for, and so they will recognize. So again, I think it's important to show specific events connected to what they feel. Then they will recognize, that's why they flew away, because they didn't like hunting other birds, for example.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, and do you do a lot of animal communications?
Quite a lot, yeah. Sometimes it comes unexpectedly, and sometimes people come specifically for it. But yeah, I do more people than animals, but yeah, still.
Okay, but to your point, I think animals do have an incredible sense of not only emotion but great intelligence, and they really bring it through.
So much. Oh my gosh, yeah. No, definitely.
Well, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. So, how do you at this point? How do you try to help people as they grow in their own spirituality and their own understanding of what's beyond their physical sight, sound, touch senses? How do you go around and explain this and teach people in your own ways as you try to work with people?
I think it's very individual. I like to work with individuals. I think it's very important for each one to find how they own, how their senses works and what is important to them and why they want to do certain things in spiritual path. if they're developing medium, then why do you want to do that? And for me, it always comes back to, do you love this? Do you feel a love for the people that you're going to deliver it to? Do you feel a love for spirit? For me, it has to come back to love, but not only in the practice. Maybe I go off on a tangent here, but
Well, that's okay.
something that I love about the spirituality and in Hawaii is that it's traditionally mediumship was part of every family. It was a natural part.
Really?
Yeah, every family had their medium. There were specific protocols for each medium. But it is a culture where, traditionally you would walk with one foot in each world. So it's a natural part of life, spirituality. So it's not a trend. It's not something that you just do and then put on the shelf. It's part of your life. And I feel that is also important as practicing mediums, that it, it's part of life to understand other people and to understand that we are all souls, we are all spirits in this world, and we are all walking with spirit beside us, like the excellent title says of your podcast. But also to have that, ability to have your boundaries is also important. When I was younger, I could not close the door. So I would have someone like in the middle of the night wake me up, show me something happening and needing healing, and I would fly out of my body and then do the healing and then come back. And the next morning I would hear, yes, down the road there was this accident exactly as and then you cannot sleep.
Yeah.
So
kind of a problem.
Yes, it's kind of a problem. So part of practicing is in your daily life, it's important how we live and how we treat others. But it's also important to have your own boundaries and to learn where your limits are, when you should practice and should not practice. Don't go up to the random stranger and say, "Oh, I can see blah blah blah." No.
Yeah, like a certain TV medium that has become rather famous for doing that. Going up to somebody in the shopping center, or it's like, "Hey, I got your grandmother here," and she says X, Y, Z. It's like, no.
Yeah, no. First, like you have to. It's like touching a person. You don't touch them without their permission. I feel the spirit and the soul of someone is very intimate, and you have to respect it. And yeah.
Wow. So you were talking earlier about your flying out of your body at night. Were you doing that as a child? What's that like? Is that part of your your spirit body going to different levels? What were you experiencing? How did that work? What did it feel like? Was it at first scary, going, what's happening to me?
No, it was totally normal, and I thought it happened to everybody.
Oh, that, okay, yeah. There we go again. All this stuff is happening to everybody. What, you don't fly out of your body? Well, I'm okay.
You don't? Oh, wow. Where do you go when you sleep?
Oh, you're the crazy one.
Yeah, how can you sleep? Just lie there, wasting time sleeping.
I know, right?
No, it was very normal for me, but sometimes tiring. So I felt like I had to train myself to be able to fully sleep. And then, what would I experience? All sorts of things, from being pulled in certain directions for healing, or, seeing behind the scenes. Like a theater, you see people play their roles, and then behind the scenes taking off their mask and their roles. And then you see the real person. So I would be confused in the daytime why certain people behaved and said certain things didn't match what I had seen.
Interesting.
But then later it came out, the truth coming out. So, but also like some events in life and in the world, seeing it before it's happening. And that could also be kind of confusing, but validating as well, that it's something real.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you traveling to different levels in the spirit world, meeting different people in spirit? Were you encountering that as well?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So what was that? What was that? That must have been fascinating.
It is. It's fascinating, but it's like I didn't like when it happened, like out of my own control. It's like, let me sleep.
Okay. What so from your perspective, if you've traveled to the spirit world, different levels of the spirit world, what did it feel like when you were there? What did it look like when you were there? Maybe you can describe what the spirit world was like.
I think very much what many people describe when we are in mediumship. It's a world of basically like everything is translucent, quiet, light. Everything is like made up of light, but it has all the colors and beyond, colors that we never seen with our physical eyes. And the communication is telepathic. No mouth is moving, no words are being expressed. So I used to feel like telepathic communication is the most natural and the least complicated, no misunderstandings. It's most straight. So I used to struggle a lot with like verbal communication. I used to feel like it's inadequate. It's too much misunderstandings, and I really wanted that we all are able to have telepathic communication to avoid conflict and misunderstandings. And yeah, I felt like that because in like spirit realm, that's happens in that way.
Yeah, there's no misunderstanding there because you're
No.
really well. And to the other point, in the spirit realm, you're seen for exactly what you are, who you are on the
Yeah,
inside.
exactly. Yeah.
There's no mask, as you put it.
There's no mask.
You're wearing everything that's on the inside, so you're easily
Yes.
seen, but
Yeah.
also you're felt 100%
Yeah.
for what you are on the inside, and to the telepathy aspect,
And most,
as you're speaking your truth, as
yes,
opposed to
absolutely. Yeah.
allowing the ego mind to change the words or have the
Yeah.
words, like you said, get misinterpreted. So
And
that's kind
no
of
agendas, hidden agendas. And most importantly, you're seen and communicated and connected through love. Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely the one commonality with every single reading that's ever been given is
Yeah.
the aspect of love. Is that
The love.
that's the frequency, that's the vibration that exists.
Absolutely.
That's where you
Yeah.
are. That's
Absolutely. Yeah.
so that also must have felt as you're connecting to that frequency in your astral travel. That must have been just felt absolutely wonderful. And you're like, I don't want to come back.
No, exactly. I was going to say. It's like the struggle was more here in this world.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why do I have to come back? I don't.
Yeah.
That's exactly what all people who have near death experiences. They're saying, why do I have to come back? I was enjoying it.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah. That's why my kind of, I think my personal life mission became to integrate that world of light and love into our daily life. Which is a challenge, we are perceived in so many weird ways by other people. We express ourselves in ways that come across not all, loving sometimes, but to always integrate what we feel in spirit, like have the best of intentions and live the path of aloha, which is the soul love.
Yeah. One thing about aloha, I was always confused. How could the same word aloha mean hello and goodbye?
It doesn't really mean hello or goodbye. It's more is an expression to part with love and to connect with love. It in simple words, it's more means unconditional love. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've learned something today. Great.
Yes.
Wow. All right. Well, that tells you how much us landlubbers actually know.
Oh, we cannot know everything about everything in this world.
Wow, we all claim we do. That's the problem with our world. We claim we know everything, but in fact, sometimes that's not exactly the case.
We know nothing.
Wow. So, what have you seen? If you were to choose, one, what do you think the biggest challenge in your life might have been, other than having to come back from an astral travel and deal with the physical world? What do you think might have been the biggest challenge of your life?
In terms of
something that was challenging that you had to overcome, and that maybe taught you a lesson of I'm able to overcome this. This was I guess a challenge that turned into a lesson.
Interesting. I think misunderstandings is something that has happened to me over and over again. That has been most challenging, I think, is when you give everything of your heart and soul and everything you have, your home, your food, everything. And people take it for granted is fine, but start to either steal or want more or accuse you for not giving enough. And yeah, that as a human, that has been my biggest challenge, to understand why that happens again and again. And
wow,
yeah.
So it's also that aspect of people, I guess, rather than being thankful for what you're giving and thankful for what you're offering, it becomes very almost selfish as to, I want more, give it to me more. And so it's why are you being so selfish?
Thing. Yeah, no, it's been very hard for me to understand. Yeah, happens over and over.
Can you think of a lesson, one big lesson that you've learned in your life?
Through that, or in general?
More in general.
In general, I feel it doesn't matter how people see you, how people perceive you, really what they say to you, what they call you, whatever, for me. Most important is where you are coming from, and that you are caring, and that you had the best intentions. And in that way, I think you can stay very happy. It's important to be happy, and if you come with the best of intentions, it's always going to surround you, embrace you in the end. Yeah.
That's perfect. It's very much like the combination of focus on your intention and your attention. Both of those, if you're focusing on them, I think that would really help people as they kind of expand themselves. If you're focusing on what you're intending and also what you're attending to, you're focusing on, that's really going to help you, I guess, learn, grow, understand, connect.
Yeah. Someone once said that it doesn't matter what other people really think about you or do, because whatever you do is going to be, what did she say? It's like accumulated in the universal bank account.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
It's it's very clear. You who came from financial background, you would understand that.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about deposits. Do you have too many deposits? If you're making more deposits than you are withdrawals, everything's great. Then your bank account starts to grow.
Yeah.
There you go. the same thing with spirituality. You start putting in more spiritual deposits of love and helping and intention, positive attention.
Yeah, you
then
feel
it starts to grow.
If you do it for attention or for ego or recognition, it's not going to make you happy, and it's not a true giving.
Yeah, so it's like charity. If all you're doing is donating to a charity so you can see your name up on a wall,
see your name, that's
forget it. That's the wrong reason.
You got the name on the wall. That's it. Cancel everything else.
Mm-hmm. It's like, look at how great I am. Look how important I am. No, that's not why you're doing it. It's the real intention. That's what matters.
Yeah, that's why you have to take care of your heart and soul so that it just becomes like an overflowing, an extension of your spirit. It's not for any other reason than that's what in you, and that flows out from you naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think, if you were to tell a listener something, what do you think it would be that you feel might be able to help them? If it was this one thought you had that you could leave a listener with that you feel might help them, what do you think that might be?
Oh my gosh, depends on who.
That's going to be it's a tough one.
Yeah. Let me see if I speak in general. I think know your soul or yourself as a soul, and know what that soul contains, and that nothing and no one can ever take anything in that away from you. The soul contains all the love that you seek, the love that you are. The knowing, the wisdom, the joy, the bliss, it's all in the soul. Know it, take care of it, get rid of the cobwebs that might cover it, and your path will be blissful, I think.
Ooh, I love that. That's great. So it's very much about know that you are greater than the physical being that you are. Know that your soul is so much more wonderful than you could ever imagine, so filled with love. It's that soul being that you truly are that is invincible and is filled with love and the ability to love others. So if you have that, if you're able to even embody just a fraction of what your soul contains, you'll be better for it.
Yeah, definitely. And believe that others have that capacity too.
Right. Exactly. Because we are all spirit. We are all soul. We are all connected. We are all one.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
It's a challenge as a human to learn, but that's why that's the challenge is there for to bring more of the soul into it.
Exactly. That's why we're all here in the physical world, in these physical bodies, to learn the lessons from the challenges that we experience every day. It's we always seem to kind of like you when you're doing your astral traveling. You come back in, you're sucked back into your body. You're like, all right, I got more lessons and challenges to learn.
I don't know. I'm a bad student, so I think for me it's like, I can't see it as lesson even. It's like, okay, let me play with this thing and let me taste this thing and let me just do it this way, and
it's interesting.
Like a game. It's like
there you go. That's kind of what you got to do with life. You got to just take it as it is and just play the game of life.
Yeah. Yes.
There you go. Well, excellent. Well, this was wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much for having me, and so nice to chat with you. And
likewise.
Yeah.
So how can people get in contact with you if they want to reach out and learn more about anything, astral travel, mediumship, spirituality, healing? How do they reach you?
Yeah, probably my website, which is Kazemaru.com. Simple. Simple.
Oh, you're going to have to spell all that because I know people are going to have trouble.
I know.
Even though it's going to be on the website, there, even though it'll be there, maybe you still need to spell it.
Yes. So it's my name, Kazemaru, Kazemaru.com.
There you go. And that link will be in the show notes, so you'll be able to see that. So, make sure to, check out everything that Kazemaru has, and we'll include that in there. And if you've got any thing you'd like to ask or follow up on, by all means, reach out at Chris at spiritsbesideus.com, or just reach out on the website at spiritsbesideus.com. And by all means, if you are liking and loving this show, subscribe, like us, love us, so that way you won't miss another episode. So with that, I'm going to sign off, and thank you for listening so much. And this is Chris wishing you the best for the holiday season and sending you love and light. I will see you next time. Bye for now. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Spirits Beside Us. Make sure you head over to the show notes for all the links and information on this week's episode. You can check it out at spiritsbesideus.com. If you love this episode as much as I did, head over to rate and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're looking for a community of spiritual seekers like yourself, make sure you join my Facebook page, Spirits Beside Us Podcast on Facebook. This is Chris signing off, sending you love and light. I can't wait to connect with you again on Wednesday.